Hi, this is Hannah, and this is my final English vlog number 6. And so, for my final project, I'm going to be doing a comparative analysis. So, for this vlog today, I decided to do a comparative analysis between two quotes and that I found in the book Push by Sapphire. Um, so, the two quotes that I'm going to look at are kind of going to show the growth of Precious even though they're from two different time periods, they show how Precious has kind of grown as a student through the help and support of Miss Rain, and not just in the education system, but also in, I think, an emotional system. So I'm first going to be comparing this sentence on page 5, and this is basically the beginning of the book. I didn't want to hurt him or embarrass him like that, but I couldn't let anybody know. Page 122 looked like page 152, 22, 3, 6, 5. All the pages look alike to me, and I really do want to learn. So I'm just going to talk about that quote really quickly. Basically, this is after, or right before she gets called into the principal's office. It's Mrs. Lichstein, and she's talking about how even though she can't find the page in the book, she enjoys math class because she really does want to learn, and she tries to keep all the other kids quiet so that they don't disrupt her teacher. And even though she doesn't know what page they're on or maybe what material they're learning, she still has clearly that drive and wants to be a good student, and she pulls good grades at this point. So just looking off that, obviously there's a few errors if we just look at the quote. Like she says and, just the word and, I really do want to learn, instead of just saying and I really do want to learn. So I thought that's interesting. I didn't want to hurt him or embarrass him like that, So just, you can really get a lot of her personality in this quote, but there is obviously some mispunctuation. So there's just this idea that she's never been properly taught how to read numbers or properly taught how to coincide different numbers from other numbers in a book or in a page, which is something that I feel like would be taught at a young age in our education system. So now I'm going to be comparing this sentence and where Precious is at in this point in her life, emotionally and educationally, with this other sentence on page 58. Okay, it reads, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. There are 26 letters in our alphabet. Each letter has a sound. A day at the beach shore. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So I really like this quote because I think it's interesting how Sapphire decides to actually have Precious write out the entire alphabet. And I think it's interesting in that first part of the alphabet, she doesn't really finish it. But then after she says there are the 26 letters in our alphabet, a day at the beach shore, she then spells it out in its entirety, and it's correct. And I feel like this is a really big turning point in the novel, just because she finally has this basis of education because of Miss Rain. And with this basis, she's able to kind of first learn how to read and then essentially learn how to write properly. And obviously we don't really get to see the reading side of things because this is kind of more a narration from Precious, and we more just see how her writing starts to change. But I really do think this is a really important part in the book, and it really contrasts a lot with the text and the quote from the first part of the book, because we finally see that she is forming a foundation, and that's because Miss Rain has stepped in and not just been there for her as a student, but also been there for her as a mentor and a guide when she's needed her. So I just think it's also noted that she's very old and she's just now learning the alphabet. It's kind of crazy, such a big contrast on what most of us are used to in our own lives. So it really makes you kind of think, like, what if I was in this position? And I also think it's noteworthy to say that she also uses this kind of like saying of the alphabet in almost like as a way to distract herself from things that she doesn't want to face. For example, on page 59, when her mom is sexually assaulting her, it says, "Come to me, little precious, look at me, smile," and start to sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, dot, dot, dot. And I think that's even really noteworthy that, like, because she's starting to form this education and this emotional connection to her teacher, she's using her knowledge as maybe a distraction from some of the things that are going wrong at her home life. But yeah, so I think by comparing these two sentences and these two quotes, we can really get a sense of the growth that Precious is making throughout the novel, or at least in the sections that we've read this far. Thank you.